Hello, good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. On Facebook, we're streaming live on Sri FM 927. Coming up in the next 1.5 hours. National Election Security Task Force cautions political parties against use of macho men to intimidate voters on election day. We have details of that crucial meeting between the police top hierarchy and political parties, as well as some reactions from some top security officials, experts actually, including Akwesi Sapong of NACOC. Also coming up tonight, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice weighs into conversation on vote buying, saying it amounts to corruption. We'll hear from Shraj Commissioner Joseph Whittal. And much later, with 4 days to the country's general election, we will take you around the various party camps as they wrap up their campaigns, and also hear from the National Democratic Council of Elders on the need for a peaceful poll. All of these plus business and sports all coming up in the next 1.5 hours. But for now, though, Safwa Buahene is here with the latest in summary. Safwa, what do you have?
Thank you, Beatrice, and welcome to the news summary segment. Let's settle for the details now. The Electoral Commission, EC, has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring transparency and accountability in the upcoming 2024 general elections. In a major development, the EC has reversed its earlier decision to restrict access to constituency and regional collation centers for journalists covering the December 7 polls. The National Democratic Congress NDC Council of Elders has issued a strong warning, vowing to resist any attempts to deploy political vigilantes under the guise of national security during the 2024 general elections. Speaking at a media briefing earlier today, Alhaji Mahama Idrisu, chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, expressed concerns over the ruling NPP government's approach to election security, describing their track record as questionable. Still on elections, the special voting exercise held on December 2, 2024 offered a glimpse into the intense political climate ahead of the December 7 polls. Conducted across 14 regions, it catered to security personnel, electoral officials, and media workers. While largely peaceful, incidents of tension and logistical challenges highlighted concerns as the nation prepares for the main polls. The Electoral Commission EC has reassured the public of free and fair elections. Stay tuned for more details and updates on that. And also, the Commissioner of Sraj, Dr. Joseph Whittal, has condemned the incumbent MP for Ayawaso West Wugon Lydia Seyram Al-Hassan for distributing food to security personnel during Monday's special voting exercise. Speaking to the media, Dr. Whittal described the act as inappropriate and raised concerns about its potential impact on the integrity of the electoral process. He emphasized the need for fairness and neutrality in the lead up to the December 7 polls. And on to our last story, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has officially launched Ghana's highly anticipated electronic gate, e-gate system at the airport, marking a significant milestone in the country's digital transformation journey. The e-gate system aims to streamline passenger arrival processes, offering smoother and faster clearance while significantly reducing turnaround time. And this brings us to the end of our news summary segment. And over to you, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Safwa Buahene. And this is your Election Command Center.
We are transparent and, if you would like, overly professional during this election period, and we are going to do exactly that.
And you heard there the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare. Well, the political party representatives present expressed satisfaction with the mechanisms instituted by the Election Security Task Force. Listen to the General Secretary of the Opposition, NDC, Fifi Kwete.
Let's just say that we had a very good engagement with the National Election Security Task Force. We had questions that were very well answered. Our concerns were addressed. We can say that the conversation showed that there is commitment on the part of the Election Security Task Force to ensure that everything is done to ensure that there's peace before, during, and after the elections. We'll be giving clear assurances regarding processes that will ensure that there will be immediate resolution of issues as and when they happen at the very highest level. We've also been given a clear list of the officers from the very top all the way to the constituency level that we could immediately reach in order to get clarifications. And the platform for resolution has been clearly explained, such that key political parties, together with members of the Security Task Force and also the Electoral Commission, when there is a need to bring all of them together for clarification, to be done. So, as far as the NDC is concerned, I would say we are happy with the assurances that have been given. We hope that everything that has been discussed would see the light of day come December 7. We have given assurances as well that we would ensure that all of our members, all of our executives who are going to be working on the D-Day before and after would all adhere to these instructions.
And you had Fifi Kwete, General Secretary of the Opposition NDC. Well, Director of Elections of the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimako, said that the MPP is committed to adhering to the rules of the game at all times.
We've engaged with the National Election Security Task Force. Already the presidential candidate, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has assured the good people of Ghana that he stands for peace. He wants Ghana to go through these elections once again and come out very peacefully, so Ghana will remain the victor. We've discussed the de-escalation strategies of the National Election Security Task Force. We've discussed the state actors who are going to be in charge of security issues. We discussed the concept of machoism. The New Patriotic Party has given its assurance to the National Election Security Task Force. We are only concerned with continuous misinformation and disinformation coming from some quarters. When Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia signed the National Peace Pact, he appealed to the media, to heads of political parties, and the security agencies to respect the rules of the game. The New Patriotic Party will at all times respect the rules of the game, from the flag bearer to the national executives of the party, all through to the polling station. We want to congratulate our security agencies, the media, and the EC officials who went through the special voting of 2nd December 2024. We are calling on the EC and all stakeholders to put in place the same mechanism that was put in place yesterday, so we have a well-organized elections on Thursday for those who are supposed to vote in Eastern region and Western region. Also, the party is calling on its rank and file to observe all the protocols associated with the conduct of these elections. We know that it is possible, and thank God, victory will be that of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Thank you very much.
And you had there Evans Nimako, he's the Director of Elections for the governing New Patriotic Party. Let's speak to Assistant Commissioner of Police Benjamin Agozo on this. He joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
I know you've been part of elections in terms of organizations, having been part of the police service for a long time. How would you rate the performance of the security agencies so far going into this particular election?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me commend the National Election Security Task Force for this meeting this morning to reinforce the fact that it is possible, and it is something I have been talking about. But when you consider Ayawasu West Wogon and the things that happened there, and then Techiman South, there is a possibility that people could be used in a different uniform, whichever way, to create problems at the police polling stations and then the collation centers. And that's why I see this meeting as very important and very timely, and I commend the National Election Security Task Force for it. There are a few observations, if you have time, so that I can just make quickly.
Please go ahead.
The first one is the fact that of late, we've been talking about the fact that the military cannot be allowed at the polling stations. The military themselves have come out with a statement or a release on that. But you will observe that continuously, we have always talked about the polling stations, and we are not talking about the collation centers. Remember, whatever happened in 13 months happened not at the polling stations, but at the collation centers. And therefore, I would like the National Election Security Task Force to also reassure people that, look, we are not only talking about the polling centers, because the collation center is not a polling center. So we need to reassure the nation, the political parties and other people that whatever it is, we also are very serious about not having any illegal uniform people at the collation centers. Then the next point is what happened yesterday. If you observe carefully, the people who misconducted themselves, some of them are members of the National Election Security Task Force, the prison officers in uniform, and some other people who may have received those are also part of the National Election Security Task Force. And these are the people who are going to police the polling stations tomorrow on Saturday.
Dr. Agozo, I just wanted you to be specific with those who misconducted themselves, as you say.
Yes.
You're talking about those who took pictures of their ballots after they cast their vote before putting it.
I'm talking about those who took pictures. They include police personnel, they include immigration officers, those who collected food from the parliamentary, the member of parliament, prisons officers that we saw in pictures. So I'm saying that those who misconducted themselves, who are supposed to know better and who are supposed to police and enforce the law against all kinds of electoral offenses, were the ones who were committing those offenses yesterday. And therefore, this is something that I think the National Election Security Task Force should revisit their strategies and see how they can find a way of briefing these people again. Because if they are willing to receive gifts and other things, then what will happen if they get to the polling station on Saturday?
But at least
and they didn't see anything wrong with it. And these are not good signs for us.
But at least in terms of the military, we seem to have had assurances from both the police and the military themselves. You remember that in previous meetings, the IGP himself said that the military wasn't going to be part of this election and the police would only invite soldiers when it becomes necessary. And that is why I believe the military also issued a statement on Sunday, kind of confirming that whatever position the IGP had taken, they were on standby to follow that.
I am okay with that. I only want a reassurance that we are not only limiting ourselves to the polling stations and that we are also talking about collation center. But even coming back to the issue of the IGP being the final authority, I have maintained that the deployment of the military, it is not the IGP. It is a political decision. And so if the IGP is saying that he is the final decider, the IGP is never the final decider.
But he's in charge. The police service is in charge of internal security.
now, in the scheme of things, there are many other people in charge of the internal security. We have even the national security is also part of internal security. And don't forget that the National Election Security Task Force is not backed by any law. It is our national the intelligence units and then the national security and other people's activities that are backed by law. And so the IGP does not have the final decision to deploy. And I have given the examples which I've done. Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. I also were gone, happened on the blind side of the IGP, although it was a by-election. 2020 at Techimansa happened on the blind side of the IGP and the police service, even though it's this. And even if you go to a GSU, which was not during an election period, the regional chairman of the RECSEC, who was the regional minister, was the one who gave orders for the military to be deployed. I've given you 3 examples indicating that there could be military deployment without on the blind side of the police.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you my last question before you go, which has to do with vigilante groups. I know that in 2019 there was the law that was passed against vigilantism, but people seem to still have apprehensions that we could see them showing up. How would you expect the security agencies to deal with them, especially when we've had, again, the IGP saying that they will stop at nothing at ensuring that there's peace in this country?
First of all, let me say that the issue of political vigilantism has not surfaced in this election because it is a good call, of course, but I'm saying that they may come in a disguise form, but you realize that unlike 2016, this issue of political vigilante has not surfaced at all. Anybody who misbehaves should be treated like a criminal. And the police must get themselves ready. The deployment must be such that people should be on patrol, they should be on call, and the deployment must be such that they could zone few places, few polling stations, and then create patrols who are armed and could easily intervene and then go back. And these are some of the expectations that I have. Then finally, I expect, and I've not heard anything about it from the National Election Security Task Force of the IGP, the armband. Remember, from 2008 and 2012 and 2016, those on duty at the polling stations and at the collation centers have always used an armbands. Armbands are indicative of people on duty, so that anybody who comes there in any other uniform, maybe even a police officer may be passing, you will not take him as somebody who is on duty. The person on duty is the one in armband. I have not heard anything about it. And I think that the IGP should clarify why the National Election Security Task Force should clarify why there's no armband being used by those on duty during this election.
Wended here. Thank you very much. Assistant Commissioner of Police Benjamin Agozo giving us his analysis of issues so far. And still on this, a former boss of NACOC is raising issues at the reduction of hotspots by the Electoral Commission from over 9,000 to now 7,200 plus. He thinks this reduction is superficial, and he spoke with me earlier on Agenda on TV3 last night. Take a listen to what he said.
Reducing the hotspots from 20,000 to 7,000 in 4 years is a magical way. I mean, it is not possible.
Think it's realistic?
I hope that the Electoral Commission came up with the numbers whilst seeking professional advice and not just mere propaganda. You know? No, I have to make itself look good, because for me, Electoral Commission, in making that announcement, ought to have been doing it with NIB and the police service together. Critically, it is, I've said that, Electoral Commission. But they are assisted by the police because the police is in charge of state security for public safety. So it is important that, I don't know where they got the 7,000 from.
But justifying the move, the Deputy Director of Research at the EC, Francis Tete, said that the Electoral Commission considered various prevailing issues at various polling stations before that very decision.
The fact that you identify a place in an election year as a hotspot doesn't mean that in the following year period it will be a hotspot. Okay, so we in the 9,644 that we're talking about in 2020, these are locations identified by our district officers, our returning officers, and the operatives on the ground.
On what basis?
One of the key things that we look at rowdiness, we look at intimidation of voters, we look at ballot box snatching, we look at places where there are clashes between political activists. We look at, there are so many indicators. We look at places where there are even intrusion by what you call non-citizens.
And you had there Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission, Francis Tete, speaking earlier on Agenda last night on TV3. 4 days to the country's general election on December 7, and we're staying with election-related matters because the Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Raj, Dr. Joseph Whittal, has criticized the incumbent Member of Parliament for the Ayawaso West Wuogon, Lydia Al-Hassan, for distributing food to security personnel during Monday's special voting exercise. Addressing the media, Dr. Whittal described the act as inappropriate and raised concerns about its implications on the integrity of the electoral process.
We were not there, but we saw the media carried certain unsettling developments, particularly in Ayawaso West Wuogon. And it falls within the checklist that we use to monitor. And that is particularly, I'm not saying it is true. I know the Member of Parliament has denied it, but it's not right to treat us as the legal term, to share food, to share money to anybody in the queue in preparation to vote, because it is tantamount to corruption and an integrity issue.
Well, Dr. Whittal also emphasized that a team of 300 trained personnel will be stationed at polling centers nationwide, equipped with a comprehensive checklist tool to observe and document voting processes.
We are going to deploy 300 staff across the length and breadth of the country who will observe the elections, but with a tool, a checklist that would enable us monitor the right to vote. There are two different things there. We have, as a constitutional duty as well, within the mandates of the Commission, to monitor the right to vote. And in particular, we are interested in, during the period of elections, right, from 6 months up to the election day itself.
And you had there the Commissioner of Shraj, Dr. Joseph Whittal. In a related development, the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Ayawaso West Wuogon, John Domelo, has filed a formal complaint against Lydia Seyram Al-Hassan, the sitting Member of Parliament for the area at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The complaint entails video recordings of various conduct by Ms. Lydia Al-Hassan, which the NDC parliamentary candidate believes breaches the criminal and electoral laws. Now, taking to his X page, John Domelo said that his team has also given material information on alleged plot by Ms. Al-Hassan to unlawfully influence voters on a larger scale come Saturday, December 7, 2024, when the main election will be held. And still on this, the National Democratic Council of Elders has also added its voice to a call for peaceful elections. Let's listen to the chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, Alhaji Mahama Idrisu, saying that the NPP does not play by the rules regarding commitment to peace.
The current dismal state of affairs in Ghana and the clarion call for change throughout the country have heightened interest in the election and its likely outcome. The government is desperate. It knows it's on its way out. The days are numbered, but it's doing everything possible. Our concerns about commitment of the citizen. While the demand for change is nationwide, there are concerns about commitments of the Akufo-Addo NPP government to ensure a clear and fair election, free from intimidation and flagrant abuse of incumbency. For almost 8 years, the NPP government has fleeced and impoverished Ghanaians, stolen from the pensions of the aged, destroyed businesses, kept our roads in a deplorable state, and paid workers poorly with the excuse that the country is broke. Suddenly, we see the NPP government repairing roads on the eve of the elections and found money to distribute to voters they have kept hungry and deprived for years.
And you had the chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, Alhaji Mahama Idrisu. We should be getting a response from the governing New Patriotic Party, hopefully shortly. We move to the camp of the NPP flag bearer and the Vice President of the country, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has commissioned the much-awaited electronic gate system. Now, the system is expected to grant smooth and easy passage for passengers on arrival at the airport and improve the turnaround time for passengers on arrival. I want you to listen to what Dr. Bawumia said at this commissioning.
Travelers can bypass traditional queues, significantly reducing wait times. What once required hours of waiting can now be completed in as little as 15 minutes from landing to exit from the airport, transforming the arrival and clearance process into one of efficiency and ease. At the same time, these advancements maintain the highest levels of security. The e-gates verify each traveler's identity against the national and international databases in real time, ensuring precision and protection against fraud, unauthorized entry, and potential threats. This border control system is being introduced at Kotoka International Airport, Ghana's flagship gateway, and will be expanded to all major airports, including Kumasi and Tamale, as well as all land and sea borders, ensuring that travelers nationwide can benefit from the same convenience, efficiency, and security, setting a consistent standard across Ghana's borders.
You had the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Well, Minister of the Interior, Henry Quartey, also said that the e-gate will enhance border controls.
Let us remember that this is not just like the beginning of new electronic system, but it is a step forward in our journey of constant improvement in innovation in this era of technological advancement in migration and border control. Let us continue to embrace technology that empowers us to create safer, smarter, and more efficient working environments for border security. An excitement to be here this morning to mark a significant journey of our digitalization drive towards innovation, efficiency, and to enhance immigration and border security in Ghana. The introduction of these electronic gates, e-gates, are more than just a technological upgrade. It reflects the government of Ghana's commitment to progress, safer, and more streamlined future and the security of our citizens and foreign nationals traveling into the country.
You heard that the Interior Minister, Henry Quartey, some 38 minutes past the hour of 5. This is still Hot Edition on Shri FM 92.7. When we come back, we'll bring you some more.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported, all the big stories.
You are ready.
All facts,
stories,
question, every figure, verified.
And we are here to feed your
every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive election coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results. Facts, analysis, results.
It's past midday, and the race is heating up. If you are ready, long stories,
Ready to make your drive home epic? It's the 3FM Drive with the one and only Giovanni Killer right here on 3FM 92.7. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're transforming your commute into a top-tier experience. Need a pick-me up? Our music belt is pure energy, pure vibes. Stay ahead with the Drive Sports, bringing you the latest scores and highlights. Curious about the stars? We've got all the hottest trends, celebrity profile interviews, plus DJ faculty has got you.
Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays on 3FM Drive. You know where it's at.
This is where the action is at, live on the 3FM Drive on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to the 3FM Drive. That's right!
And you're still here on Hot Edition on Shri FM 92.7. I was telling you earlier that with 4 days to the country's general election, the chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, Alhaji Mahama Idriso, is accusing the NPP of certain actions and inactions going into the polls. We have on the line with us Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm not sure you had the opportunity to listen to the chairman of the Council of Elders of the opposition NDC. So I want to play it again for you to hear exactly what he says so you can respond appropriately.
Okay. Current dismal state of affairs in Ghana and the clarion call for change throughout the country have heightened interest in the election and its likely outcome. The government is desperate. It knows it's on its way out. The days are numbered, but it's doing everything possible. Our concerns about commitment of the citizen. While the demand for change is nationwide, there are concerns about commitments of the Akufo-Addo NPP government to ensure a clear and fair election, free from intimidation and flagrant abuse of incumbency. For almost 8 years, the NPP government has fleeced and impoverished Ghanaians, stolen from the pensions of the aged, destroyed businesses, kept our roads in a deplorable state, and paid workers poorly with the excuse that the country is broke. Suddenly, we see the NPP government repairing roads on the eve of the elections and found money to distribute to voters they have kept hungry and deprived for years. These are all insults to the intelligence of Ghanaians.
Mr. Mohammed, you just had the chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, but he also went on and called on the Electoral Commission to exhibit competence on the voting day. I just want you to listen to that as well before we start our conversation.
We demand the government do desist from using vigilante groups and NPP foot soldiers in the guise of national security to foment trouble on the blind side of the election security task force. We urge the electorate to consider itself guardian or protector of the ballot they cast. We should remain alert, be on the lookout for troublemakers, and wherever possible, put them on record. We also urge the media to stay alert and assist the Election Security Task Force in implementing its plans.
And you had the chairman of the NDC Council of Elders, and that's Alhaji Mahama Idris. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party. Like I told you, he's on the line with us. I know Alhaji said a lot of things, but amongst them was the fact that the NPP government has starved Ghanaians, and now with just a few days to the country's general election, you're now tarring roads or fixing roads just to try and buy their vote, and also doing everything possible to stay in power. How do you react to these?
Thank you very much. I would say good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers on Facebook. It's unfortunate that this statement is coming at this particular point in time. I would have wished that we pick the point one by one, then I address them. But first and foremost, you mentioned about on the eve of election where we are tarring roads here and there. This is palpable falsehood. When we talk about eve of elections, I believe that you understand this is at this point in time. This is at the period that elections are about to commence. And if you check the work of this particular government, contracts are always in continuation. You cannot stop work. You cannot stop work because election is about to come. Contractors will continue to be executing works of government.
So you disagree with that?
I disagree vehemently because if you check the track record, when we did our presentation in terms of the road infrastructure we have developed before 2024, after 2023, we 11,000 kilometers of road.
So, Mr. Mohammed, I will let you continue.
Should not stall.
Yes, I will let you
not stall because there is election.
I will let you continue. But in my neighborhood where I live, the government or contractors started trying to level the road up just about 2 months ago. They would come and leave, and the past 2 weeks they were on it trying to level it. As we speak, they have not been there for like 1 week, and the road is just filled with red dust. How do you explain that? 2 weeks to an election.
Maybe it is for you to have checked when was the contract awarded to the contractor. Because contractors are always at liberty to go to site at any point in time when they mobilize resources. You cannot say that if because tomorrow or tomorrow next is election, because contractor has gotten resources, he should not go to site. We all know. So this is not anything closer to desperation. Desperation is when you have lost power, you decide to bundle the resources of this state for your own brother. Desperation is when you have lost elections, you went ahead appointing people to sensitive positions in government. Desperation is when you have lost power and you are taking certain decisions, even on the 5th of January, you take decisions. So this is absolutely not closer to what he's talking about. He's also saying that we have impoverished the people of Ghana. Go and check the records and what we have been able to do under the free senior high school policy. If the Ghanaian citizen was to be paying school fees of their children, remember, we implemented this in September 2017. To date, we have not reversed in our effort to ensure that the free senior high school is staying and the free senior high school benefit the Ghanaian citizens. You would ask yourself, how many communities have you connected to the national grid? Ask yourself, the development project that is ongoing, the development projects that have been completed in the 6 new regions that we have created. Go and check the coordinating council. Go and check the district development planning unit. Check the number of departments that we have been able to set up. Go and check the number of jobs that we have been able to create. 2.3 million Ghanaian citizens have been given opportunity to work. Check the security sector, how we have retooled it. Check the helicopters we have provided. Check the vehicle. Check the visibility. Check the cameras. Go out from security and move into the civil services. Go and check the number of job opportunities and the infrastructure we have developed.
But if you, Mr. Mohammed, if you talk about job opportunities, I don't think you want to go there because it is 14-point-something% as at now. I'm talking about unemployment rate, and that has gone up.
I'm telling you that it is a fact that we have recruited 2.3 million Ghanaians.
But the fact is, Mr. Adu, forgive me, the fact is, if you're saying you've created employment opportunities, then we shouldn't have 14 plus unemployed people. They should take advantage of those opportunities and work.
If John was there, if John was sitting on the seat, the incompetent NDC government, if they were sitting on the seat from the IMF, where we could not recruit any Ghanaian citizen just because we went for policy credibility. Nurses who had completed school could not be posted. Teachers who had completed school could not be posted. A sensitive medical infrastructure that they have to work for 11 months and be paid for 3 months. All these particular sectors we had done, the recruitment wouldn't have come to force because the government of that particular day told us that he's not a magician to create job opportunities.
So you're using what happened in previous government to justify 14.7% unemployment as we speak?
Yes, that is their record because they couldn't have provided the job opportunity. Even when the labor was putting pressure on government, he said it was a dead goat. But he doesn't care any line.
But Mr. Mohammed, were you elected to compare records, or you were elected to improve the lot of Ghanaians?
Because we have improved the record, we need to compare to let them understand that this was the state they left the people of Ghana. So So if you don't compare the record and let them understand that we have done far better than them, they will not appreciate the fact.
And you also do not think that the Council of the NDC Council of Elders, when he talks about impoverishing Ghanaians, and you're talking about cameras, you're talking about creating employment opportunities and others. Just a second. Let me land with my question. You're talking about, for instance, egg, which is something that the everyday Ghanaian uses. At the time before NPP came to power, it was less than 10 cedis. Now it's about 60 cedis for a crate. Some of them even sell it for over 60, sometimes 70 cedis. I buy eggs myself. A bag of cement between 18 and 25 cedis. Now over 100 cedis. You're looking at the cedi dollar rate. Yes, admittedly, over the last few weeks or days, the dollar has improved. Now it is around 15. I checked it yesterday, around 15 point something as compared to the 17 that we recently witnessed. But when the man talks about impoverishing Ghanaians, you do not think that he's considering these factors that are the realities of the everyday Ghanaian?
I cannot confirm the prices you are mentioning, but prices of goods and items in the market are not static. They are different from one environment to the other. Ask yourself, the teacher that was at the lowest level, how much he was paid, the number of cement that he could buy, and the teacher that is paid today at the same level, how much salary does the person live? Remember, ask yourself, Ghanaians were holding money to buy fuel. There was always shortage of fuel. Ghanaians are able to buy fuel even in the circumstances that you are mentioning. Nobody is queuing to buy fuel.
At today. How much?
But
at how much?
And comparing to a particular period that people were even holding money, they could not even buy the fuel.
At how much, Mr. Mohammed? As of 2021, I was buying fuel for a little over 6 cedis. Now is how much? I'm sure you buy fuel yourself. It's double the price or more. Actually, it's 14 point something.
John Mahama, you were chasing fuel under John Mahama, an incompetent president, that you could not even get it even with your money. With the money that you have today, you are able to get the fuel to buy. That is what the government machinery works for.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Haruna Mohammed. He's Deputy General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party. Coming up next is Business with Michael Obudu. Don't go away.
And hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, holders of restructured debts expected to receive their monies in 2 years will be hearing from Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. My name is Michael Obudu. Please stay tuned. Well, thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story, and Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam has expressed optimism the government will honor all restructured debts in 2 years, considering the outlook of the economy. He indicated that some robust policies being implemented will ensure persons and companies affected by the domestic debt restructuring exercise recover their investments. The minister made this known at his outfit's monthly economic press briefing, where he announced government has successfully completed its third IMF board review, paving the way for the fourth tranche disbursement of 360 million cedis expected before the general elections.
Of eligible debts under the debt treatment. That is why we are safe to say that we've completed. What is left not significant, and we'll continue to engage those who are involved in those debts. As far as other bondholders who did not sign up, we have the collective action clauses that have been part of the negotiation, and so they are covered. I also can say that the bonds are trading very well on the market, and this is why I said earlier that for those who have lost value, the recovery has been very swift, and they by now should be making some gains on the restructured bonds. So over the next 1 year or 2 years, when our bonds on the market have consolidated, they will be laughing to the bank. I sincerely believe so.
So that was Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam speaking there. Now, activities in the secondary bond market slowed last week, decreasing by 48.87% to 574 million cedis, down from 1.12 billion cedis recorded. Market turnover was distributed across the local currency yield curve, with the February 2027 maturity recording the highest volume traded at an average yield to maturity of 25.6%, up from 23.4%. The shorter end of the yield curve accounted for 76.12% of trade concentration, closing the week at an average maturity of 23.3%, while the belly and tail end represented 23.88% of trades, with average maturity of about 25% and 25.33% week on week. Now, away from that, Energy Minister Herbert Krapper has emphasized the need to develop Africa's energy sector to boost manufacturing and fully leverage the benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Area after. According to him, gas has become a vital source of power generation across the continent, and most governments have invested in exploration. However, an efficient transportation system is still needed to complete the process. He made these remarks at the Africa Prosperity Network Partners Cocktail, which precedes the Africa Prosperity Dialogue 2025 and Africa Prosperity Champion Awards 2025.
360 megawatts gas to power Sangria project in Senegal. You have the 500 megawatts project in Angola, the 1,420 project in Libya, and then the 450 megawatts project in South Africa. These are very crucial, and I believe that for Ghana as well, the GPP and the GPP2 that is coming up will all help to consolidate the usage of gas on the continent. And contingent on that is the infrastructure, mainly the pipelines. And the work of the AFCFTA becomes only tangible if projects and programs such as this, where the narrative of ensuring that we're delivering manufacturing on the continent is married with investments.
Energy Minister Herbert Krapper. The chairperson of the Association of Ghana Industries AGI Industry Awards Committee, Dr. Nora Banaman Abbott, is urging organizations to be prepared to share information to attract foreign investments. In an interview with Three Business, she emphasized that data on international organizations are readily available to potential investors to aid decision-making.
So there are certain conditions that would create that sort of environment in every difficult situation, in competitive situations. First of all, innovation and taking advantage of technology. But for businesses, it is important to keep your books right. Keep the right records. Keep your books right. Good governance. Best business practices, to put it very simply. So this is what we want to encourage them to do. Put their records right. And sometimes businesses are worried about sharing information. But globally and internationally, if you want to do well, if you want to attract joint ventureship and so on, you must be ready to openly share information about your company. So we are encouraging them to continue to do this.
So Dr. Nora Banaman Abbott is the chairperson for the AGI Industry Awards Committee, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obudu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
We will keep you aware with breaking news, expert analysis, and the numbers as they come through throughout the night. Saturday, 7th December.
results.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and we start from football, where Mohamed Kudus has travelled with West Ham United and is in contention to feature in a Premier League game after a 45-day absence due to a 5-game suspension following the red card in a match against Tottenham Hotspur, where he pushed Mickey van der Ven and Pate Matassa in the face. Kudus was initially set to miss 3 games. However, the English FA escalated the matter, charging him with violent conduct and inappropriate behaviour, which extended his suspension to 5 matches. Ahead of the game against Leicester City tonight, West Ham United head coach Julian Lopetegui has revealed the 24-year-old is happy to return to the squad.
To talk about the lineup, it's true that he came back. He has stayed a lot of time out too. 5 matches, I think. 5 matches, yeah, of 2 months. So and let's see. He's ready. He's working well. He's happy to come back, and he's one player more to use. So it's a good news for us, because now we start with a lot of matches in a row. So it's a good thing that we have the more players that we need. So.
Well, that was Julian Lopetegui there speaking ahead of the game between West Ham and then Leicester City, which would be kicking off later tonight at around 8:15. Let's still stay in the English Premier League, and this time talk about Manchester United, because new head coach Ruben Amorim has admitted that the club are still not in a place to compete for a Premier League top 4 slot just yet. Now, he says that the immediate focus on the team is on the performance, not the result. So far, the Portuguese coach is unbeaten and is enjoying life at Manchester after drawing against Ipswich, beating Bodo Glimt by 3-2, and then being comfortable winners against Everton by 4-0.
No, I understand that. It's hard for me. If I said no, you will say that I cannot be a Manchester United player. But I want to be a player, no coach. I want to be honest with our fans. So let's focus on the performance, not the results. So we'll see in the end. In the end, I said this many times, I will be judged about the place that we finish. I know that. But let's focus just on the next game, and look at the performance. Sometimes we play, we had like in Thursday was a 3-2, but I think we deserve more. Today was a 4-0. I think Everton deserve more also. So let's focus on the performance. Congratulations.
Well, that was Ruben Amorim, who's the head coach of Manchester United. Remember that the Red Devils had travelled to London to face Arsenal on Wednesday in the Premier League, but there are fixtures later tonight in the English Premier League, where West Ham, as I mentioned, will face Leicester City away. Crystal Palace would be looking for a win, long-awaited win against Ipswich. That is also now an away game for the London side. And then there's also midweek action in La Liga. Barcelona currently facing Mallorca away. 5 minutes played in that game. It remains 0-0. You can get updates on these midweek games on our social media handles at 3 Sports GH. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and Hot Edition continues right after this.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
And we are here.
Imagine a place where voices matter, where every corner, every street, every community is a platform.
A big bus moving through Accra, carrying conversations, questions, and the pulse of the nation. This is not just another show, it's your voice on the move.
Join us as 3FM Sunrise hits the road, turning ordinary streets into platforms for extraordinary dialogue. Speak freely, listen deeply, and help shape the conversation that drives Ghana forward.
And
Look out for the bus and
feed your curiosity and fill you with information.
Join us at noon each day on the 6th of December on the afternoon stretch on your election command center. So don't miss
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
It's past midday and the race is heating up. And you are ready for more stories and analysis.
And we are here to feed your curiosity and fill you with information.
Join us at noon each day from the 6th of December on the afternoon stretch on your election command center. So don't miss out.
Thank you very much, Michael Ogbodu and Orekwam, for bringing us sports and business.
Election Command Center. Facts.
Let's bring you some more here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And the National Democratic Congress's presidential candidate John Mahama has categorically denied any involvement in the attack on the convoy of the Asantehene Otumfuo Setutu II in Techiman on Monday. Mahama claims that a circulating video suggesting his involvement is doctored and intended to tarnish his reputation and that of the NDC.
It will be a friend of fake news. Intimidate a for computer. A year be a obitia or because a name. I don't pay me sorry at my mobile phone. So I had the picture I carry on. And I almost can send almost a family and almost just a computer so I can come and send me anymore. Meaning also. Yeah. Seat of government in the movie. Our more department of what Majumani says are fake news. Omode Atuja. And obey me sorry, and now cramming. So we conference that a year. And see, the company saying I'm in for Combra. And obey me sorry. There's a mima cofa, but I do what teaching man so I'm to a bow and bow to for it's not a music campaign, not to a sovereignty. I come and truly. Nana, we in and so, when you say, Yenya Mio Hatasri, when you will be out, when you say, yes, only they see him. Now, you say, Obebu Gana, say, yeah, Union, me have a cow of Ghana. The Sika Sama say, Yami. A big see here or
And I heard that the flag bearer of the opposition NDC, John Mahama, denying claims that he's involved in attack on the convoy of the Otumfuo, that's the Asantehene Otumfuo Setutu II. He said that he is not he's not behind that attack, and also rather it is the seat of government that is behind it, and it is so because the NPP's campaign is in shambles. And so here on Hot Edition, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is reminding political parties he's a founding member of the NPP, particularly his party, that the pursuit of power should not come at the cost of national unity, and warned against the consequences of electoral malpractice.
For the first time in our history, political history, you can see that the sort of tension we have in town at the moment towards an election is very, very, very frightening. Now, my main worry is that the electoral commissioner is not doing what she's expected to do. And that is the main problem that is facing the nation. Now, we have a whole lot of electoral fraud. People have been seen buying votes openly in public. People have been seen giving out paper bags containing whatever, only God knows. There have even been frightening videos of already some printed ballot papers that have been put into a huge bag. And you see the police, the security officers struggling with the regional chairman of NPP. I mean, these are serious infractions. And if we sit down on concern, especially the churches who have always been preaching when it is late, the churches, the National House of Chiefs, and all the other institutions that I will say the public looks up to are sitting down on concern.
And you had the founding member of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. The executive secretary of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS, Beatrice Adu, has called for strict enforcement of mining and environmental laws to promote sustainable practices and address illegal activities in the environment. And she was speaking at the 15th Civil Society Organization's annual Natural Resources and Environment Forum in Accra.
Saying that it isn't that there are no laws, there are no policies. It's the issue is enforcement. And so you the mining presentation can corroborate what we said. There are laws, there are policies. The water sector has the buffer zone policy that says that do not mine, or there shouldn't be any activities within some perimeters from the water resources. But still, we have that happening. So what we are saying is that the policies are there, but they are not enforced. So we should ensure that these policies are enforced. Currently, I know the BRC is trying to change the buffer zone into a law to make it more sharp and biting, because it looks like as a policy, we are not respecting it, or we are not able to implement it very well.
You heard that the executive secretary of the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS, Beatrice Adu, was speaking on the theme confronting the scourge of illegal mining, required policy change and the role of political commitment. Coordinator of the civil society platform on CASA Initiative Ghana, Jonathan Goka, said that it is important that the state ends illegal mining.
Of the day, we are going to come up with a communique, a list of recommendations to duty bearers to better improve the performance of this sector. The natural resource and environment sector is the only one that we have, and most of them are non-renewable. So if CSO's participation in these processes are not highlighted, we face to lose most of our natural resources in the future. Our future generation will not have access to some of the things we are seeing today. So the conviction is that we need to come together in a concerted manner in order to address the challenges of unsustainable activities in the sector.
And you heard earlier the coordinator of the civil society platform on CASA Initiative Ghana, Jonathan Goka. Let's return to the campaign trail now. Focus today, Stanley Nibleo shines the spotlight on the Atebu Amantin constituency, where electorates say that the choice for representation in the next parliament will be determined by the availability of development projects and policies targeted at poverty alleviation. Listen to the report he brought us earlier.
Atebu Amantin is predominantly a farming area in the Bunu East region. Roads in the area are in poor condition, and the constituency is comprised of smaller settler communities that are deprived of basic social amenities. Constituents say their choice of representation in the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic will depend on several factors, including development and the existence of pro-poor policies aimed at improving the lives of the lower class.
We need development here. We will vote because of the low levels of development in this constituency.
Ousua Excel, a beneficiary of the government free senior high school program, says she will vote for the new patriotic party, NPP, on December 7.
And their development. And members of Gomoa or Tapro are threatening to boycott the December 7 elections over developmental issues. The community, led by its chief Nana Osompa Nyameche II, boycotted last year's assembly elections, citing neglect by the government. Now, with the December 7 elections approaching, members of the community have served notice that they will not take part in the presidential and parliamentary elections. The leader, Nana Osompa Nyameche II, chief of Gomoa or Tapro, gave some details regarding this.
Nina so make say yanya ne keke ya don kata ye de to anamon bibia ko free easy no first one crime na ye minister of local government is and na we are responsible for demarcation of districts na no nke ka ho de ye tu anamon no enso yante hwe Okuyakwema ya leta fufuru ya de kwayakwa bisa na sama ampo mo leta wa na chade we nhunu ya leta ekoduo dise ya leta ho na senhia otapruman yare yankeka yan ho a obaya den papa ma he dinananum ya de yetihye ye nde na dama na ete dia ye hwa ye wo mu no obi sabi obi nkonum onkodo ayasokwa na onkwai den onkonum machinchi nusu sabatu nu bana sameto mede kwa aguna na mepe bibi na samesa nkade a na no mekɔ no ma akyɛ meje kum dɛ anasa mekum na menkɔ na dam da yɛ figumwa nti no gumwa central no a yɛ tepuman yɛ sinipi no gumwa central no a yɛ gumman yɛ sinipi sɛ yanhwɛ na dam haw no da hɔ no amfi hɔ ma yɛ mbaguna wɔ krum ha ina ko ni da shi ba kaci yɛ mbaguna wɔ krum ha bebre na ran wani je politics ho.
And you heard right there, Nana Osompa Nyameche II. He's the chief of Gomoa or Tapo in the Central Region. Remember that the Central Region is the swing state, if there was, one of the swing states in Ghana. And you want to stay right here with your election command center. We're just 4 days to the country's general election. We'll bring you all the details and stories from every nook and cranny of the country. And you wouldn't miss any story. Let's bring you this from the north. And in the Boone community, water crisis will be a major parameter upon which many will decide on December 7. Constituents there are disappointed perennial water issues have not been addressed despite several promises. William Evans Income is our man. He's in the northern part of the country. He joins us live from there. William, great to talk to you this evening.
Great to have you, Beatrice.
Tell us what's happening where you are.
Well, so campaign is taking shape as far as the Salaga North constituency is concerned. Of course, a two-horse race that is between the MPP and the NDC. This is one particular constituency that you would say that the NDC dominates. But for 2020 election, that saw the seat slip into the camp of the MPP. It has always been an NDC affair. But this time around, the NDC is also coming out strongly just to claim what politically they say belongs to them. But one particular area that they are majoring a message on is addressing the perennial water issue here at Boone. Boone has a voter population of over 1,000. Of course, if you're talking about the entire Salaga North constituency, then we are looking at an excess of 25,000. About 30% increase of 2020 was hovering around 19,000. They have about 25,000. If we come to Boone, water is an issue. Of course, I mean, we've been here for the past 48 hours, and I tell you what, Beatrice, I have to come with my own water from Tamale. And that is what we've been living on. Once we finish consuming the water, it means we have to go back to Tamale and another one. Exactly what the people here are going through. Sachet water from other parts of the constituency is what they are living on. And it's something that is bothering their mind, and they're telling me, or they tell me, that it's something that they are going to consider highly in making that particular decision. They tell me that there have been numerous promises of bringing potable water to Boone, but none of these promises has been materialized. Beatrice.
William Evans Inkum, we'll have to continue this conversation later. I know you bring us some more, not just from this Boone community in that place where you are in the Salaga area of the Savannah region, but some more. We just, the time ticking towards December 7 general election. Well, that'll be it for Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.